Hello everyone, especially moms and dads. Do you have teenagers? If so, this video is for you. And if not, it's still relevant. Have you ever felt that your teenager suddenly became very critical of many things they do or that you do? And have you felt that your teenager suddenly changed their way of thinking? Here's what I want to explain a little about understanding teens' intellect and decisions. Parents, in the books, The Space Between, Waldseemüller recounts his own experience. I feel it was my responsibility to challenge my father's inferior of best way of thinking. I was not able to understand things I've never been able to understand before. Muller explained that these transitions occurs because adolescents shift from concrete to abstract thinking. The concrete thinker can only think about what is, while the abstract thinker is now able to think about what might be. This is why adolescents begin to question the authority of their parents and develop their own view of principles about the world. So, parents, let's delve deeper. Our decisions of adolescent thinking and their decisions is getting more and more interesting. Parents, however, this intellectual ability is not yet complete. Dr. Lawrence Statsberg, in Age of Opportunity, explained, the adolescent's brain is surprisingly malleable. The problem is the development of the parts of the brains does not occur simultaneously. Let's look at these two things. First, the reward system, the GAS. The emotional and pleasure center develop rapidly during puberty, making adolescents thirsty for new experience of social reward. Second, the control system, the brain. The logic and self-control center do not fully mature until the early 20s. This explains that adolescents are still in process of developing their thinking process. Intellectually, your child might be as smart as an adult at 16, but when they are with friends or in emotional state, their self-control system is often overpowered by the urge to seek pleasure. The emotional center and the logic center are still not balanced, even though they feel that their thoughts are very good according to adolescents think. Parents have a very important role in this matter. You need to be wiser in forming your teenager intellectual so that they can use the thinking correctly and well, especially in seeking pleasure in a teenager self. So parents, speaking of teenagers seeking pleasure through their own thought, there's one thing that often makes the teenager truly curious. What is that? It's about sexuality. So, they'll use their minds to always want to say, everything will be fine if you go about it right. This is what teenagers are like. Let's learn a little about this. Intellect, sexuality, and the danger of hurrying. How does this intellect relate to sexuality? Muller notes that because of the ability to think abstractly, teenagers are now capable of imagination. The abstract thinker is now able to think about what might be in terms of romance and sexuality. Here is the danger of what David Elkins called hurry, forcing children to grow up too quickly. Meanwhile, Alfred James, reviewing Elkind writing, warned that miseducation occurs when we ignore what children should learn and impose what we want to teach, thereby putting them at risk. We often treat them as adults while they still emotionally immature. Elkind urged parents to hold fast to the time, meaning respect their development period. So, parents, the explanation suggests that helping teenagers use the intellect well to avoid miseducation. So, parents, how do we guide them? Leverwotsky introduced the concept of the zone of proximal development, ZPD. The area where brain develop is more likely to occur what adults support. Leverwotsky emphasized that learning occurs through social interactions. Children solve practically tasks with the help of their speech, as well as their eyes and hands. So, Stensberg suggests a process called scaffolding, where parents provide gradual but length support as the children's ability develops. This means using logic to explain each of your rules rather than just use authority, so that the children see that your rules have solid foundation. So, as a parent, one good lesson for us at this time, understanding teenager intellect and decisions. It's certainly a concern for parents regarding their teenager, especially regarding sexuality. Let's be parents who can help teenagers with their intellect development. Remember the story of Walt Muller. After feeling like he knew everything, years later, Muller realized, I'd measured and honed my intellectual capacity enough to see that their parents were actually pretty wise. Muller offered a message of hope for all parents. If you are struggling with an intellectual superior teenager, trust me, there will be a day when you too will get smart again. Remain a wise guide and give the intellectual break time to fully develop. So parents, what you get from this learned from this video. Hopefully you can understand what your teenager think, what your children think, and you can be a good parent. Thank you for watching.